Hey, what's going on, everybody? Before we begin today's video, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsors at ECG Designs 13. They are your one-stop shop for all of your clothes and accessories, from shoes, shirts, jackets, and hats, all the way down to books and watches and blankets, even all the way down to pins. As you can see right now, I am actually sporting one of their baseball tees, which is a stitched up smiley face, which, believe it or not, is supposed to be a background story to how the creator used to work at Walmart, and it just goes way, way deeper into that. I would definitely say it is absolutely worth looking into, and I would definitely say it's worth following all of their social media and getting a hold of them, so that way they themselves can personally tell you all about the different designs that they have. They have almost 1,000 different products that are on their site right now. So many different kinds of designs that I guarantee it will range from anything from like melting pizza to broken clocks to digital foxes, and as you see, stitched up smiley faces. Guys, it gets weird, but it also gets super freaking cool over at the site. So I would definitely say go check them out over at ecgdesigns13.myshopify.com and go get you some new gear today. Hey. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Monday Review Matinee. My name is Plugs Bunny, one half of the Rabbit Hole Sounds. I hope everyone is doing fantastic today. Oh man, we got a great one for you guys. For today's review, we are looking at the 2013 stoner comedy classic. In my eyes, it's a classic. Doesn't even matter what you guys got to say. Opinions are subjective. We're looking at the 2013 stoner comedy known as We're the Millers, starring Jason Sudeikis, Jennifer Aniston, Will Poulter, and Emma Roberts. Before we get into today's review, I want you guys to just take a second to check out today's song of the day. Go hug a koala. As a stoner who enjoys crude humor myself, this is one of those movies that will not only keep you on your toes with humor that you'd expect to see from somewhere in the American Pie series, with a sprinkle of Harold and Kumar with the traveling stoner hijinks, the Johnson family reunion with the traveling family aesthetic. So just keep that in mind. There's a whole lot of weird stuff going on, but it's just fantastic. The movie starts with a pot dealer named David Clark, played by Jason Sudeikis, going around his community offering up some of that sweet, sweet grassy lawn care service like a pharmacist with a weekend labor job. You know exactly what I'm talking about. After a long day of being a community activist, he arrives at his apartment and runs into Rose, a struggling adult dancer played by Jennifer Aniston, who also lives in the same apartment building as him, and they pretty much hate each other. They pretty much get into a petty argument that gets the attention of the goofy, dorky neighbor kid named Kenny, who's played by Will Poulter. Kenny and David start to chop it up some about how David can start selling to him because he's 18 and grown now, but David understands that being 18 barely makes him legal for something like, you know, bud, and turns him away. Shortly after, Kenny sees Casey, a homeless runaway played by Emma Roberts, being bullied and mugged in the alley by some possible hair metal fan thugs, and runs over to help her out. But David sees this and tries to de-escalate the situation, but it goes terribly left and gets robbed of all of his money and his inventory. Like, if you live that life, you can understand like why this is a terrible idea. It sucks. Dave is now screwed and gets kidnapped, then taken to his drug boss's corporation, where he meets his old friend and boss Brad Girdlinger. I really hate that last name. But Brad Gerlinger is played by Ed Helms, and he tells David that the debt can be forgiven and payment can be expected if he goes to Mexico to pick up a smidgen and a half of pot to smuggle back into the country. David agrees to it, but it's only because he doesn't have much of a choice. There's really nothing he can do about this, so yeah, do with that as you will. So David comes up with the plan to make a fake family using Rose, Kenny, and Casey to travel to Mexico, using them as scapegoats for when they need to get back into the country and not be seen as suspicious, but almost cause a commotion when cross-country travelers Dawn, Edie, and Melissa Fitzgerald, played by Nick Offerman, Katherine Hahn, and Molly Quinn, continuously honk their horns at the new Miller family, trying to get their attention and just say hi. Weird, right? Super cookie cutter, but whatever. Their roles are importantly funny. The Millers celebrate their success in crossing the border by singing Waterfalls by TLC, and it's safe to say that Kenny has some melanin in him, because that boy was flowing over Left Eye Lopez's verse like a waterbender, and it was fantastic to watch. Not even playing. The cartel is now on the hunt for the family after they find out that they were robbed of their product due to Brad, the drug boss, not being entirely truthful about who was supposed to pick up the product like a Class A dingleberry.
If you saw this gringo again, would you recognize him in his vehicle?
He was driving an RV with his family.
Get in the car.
The family RV breaks down due to the weight of the product, and then they get rescued by the Fitzgerald family, who hauls their vehicle to the mechanic and let them stay the night with them in their camper, with where some of the movie's weirdest yet funniest scenes take place regarding Kenny, like him striking out with getting Melissa Fitzgerald to kiss him, or just for him to make a move on her, even though it's clearly shown that she wants him to make a move, and he's just so out of his element with it. And it's just the saddest thing ever. Him learning to kiss from his fake mom and sister, and then Melissa walking in on that whole incest party. Like, that was, it was so bad, but it was just like, I don't know, like out of context it would be like, but we all know that this isn't a real family. This is all just for a mission. So let's all just calm down for a second, okay? Later on, David and Rose get caught up with Don and Edie, and then the latter couple, being Don and Edie, let's see, they think that they're trying to be swingers, and some of the even weirder yet funnier moments happen here because Katherine Hahn is so hilarious in anything that she's casted in, and this movie is literally no exception to that.
I'm never gonna wash these hands. Thank you so much.
They make their way back to the mechanics the next morning to find the cartel boss there and not happy about the fake family having a stash. The family gets away once Rose strips for him and lets steam go onto the cartel leader's face, then smash into his nice Porsche with the RV and crash off the freeway onto a grassy area. But things only get worse when Kenny gets bit by a poisonous Mexican spider.
What happened?
Spider bit me, David.
What?
Where? Where did it happen? Bit me on my balls. On my balls.
Look, I have to say that it's a Mexican spider because the first time that we saw this spider, it was in Mexico when they were going to get the pickup. So not trying to put any kind of racial bias on the spider. I'm just saying that we first see the spider in Mexico, it becomes a stowaway, and the next time that we see it is when they're trying to get away from the cartel bosses, and it's almost like it's fated to just be lined up the way that it's lined up. It's messed up, but it's perfect. So he gets bit by a poisonous Mexican spider on one of his goose eggs and then passes out.
Is it bad?
Listen.
Hey, listen to me. It's not that bad.
Dude, it's really bad.
No.
You.
No,
How bad is it?
absolutely. Kenny, you're okay.
Oh my
Let's
God.
go. Rub some dirt on it. Let's get back in the RV.
Kenny,
Let's go.
no.
I can't
Trust
feel
me.
my bingo.
Kenny is fine.
Like, guys, no one's gonna suck the venom out of this. Not even the wildest OF creator would dare go south of his border. Now he's rushed to the hospital, and Dave calls Brad, rightfully freaking out about almost being killed over this misunderstanding, but gets his delivery time extended and an increase in pay. Kenny gets let out of the hospital, and everyone heads back to the RV where the fight about split wages goes on, and David eventually abandons his family to attempt to get the delivery to Brad on time, but has a change of heart and goes back to his fake family. But before he shows up back to his fake family, this B-Rad from Malibu looking joke named Scotty P, played hilariously by Mark L. Young, befriends, then harasses Casey, and then gets knocked the entire hell out by Rose. Kenny was given the advice back when they were with the Fitzgerald family spending the night, that if he ever feels nervous about either being in a fight or just in any kind of situation, just count to 3 and just do it, because you'll overthink it and it'll drive you crazy. So by the time he gets to 2, when it comes to being in Scotty P's face, which just comes up, lays him out, KO, do not pass go, do not collect 200. The entire family almost make it back to their camper when Edie and Melissa bump into them, and Melissa lets it slip that she saw Kenny make out with his mother and sister while David watched and recorded.
Look, last night, I saw Kenny making out with his sister and mother while their dad watched. What?
Feeling guilty and wanting to hide nothing, Kenny, in typical fashion, spills the beans about the whole operation and kind of ruining everything for everyone.
David hired us to help him smuggle drugs across the border.
You're drug dealers?
No, we're drug smugglers. There's a difference.
There's not a difference.
Not before the cartel pops up again and puts an attempt on the family's lives until Don pops out of the RV, attacking the thugs with a mug like Captain America, because I don't know if I ever let it be known yet, but Don is a DEA agent who still has some fight left in him. He's in no means like an old man, but he's more like, I'll probably say he's probably like somewhere in his 40s. I won't say late 40s. I'll say like early to mid, but you know, he still looks like he's got some years before he's allowed to go retire. Don wants to arrest the family, but turns his back in order for them to get away before he changed his mind, because he just realized that while they were being attacked by the thugs, Kenny helped, I want to say David helped, and everything just worked out perfectly, because it's like, you know, you saved our lives from getting screwed over by this cartel boss, but you also saved my life for, you know, taking care of my family in this stressful situation. You were willing to put your life on the line for my family and this faux family you got going on. You're not too bad after all. So he says, I'm gonna arrest you, but first I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna hug my family. That was the ultimate universal sign saying, get the hell out of here, because if I turn around and you're still here, I'm gonna be super disappointed, and then I'm really just gonna have to do whatever the hell I gotta do. The delivery is made, but David doesn't get paid. He gets lied to by his friend, so he was never going to get paid this entire time. He was just being a mule, and it was almost seen as like a type of favor. But where David doesn't get paid, he gets paid back, because what happens is he tipped off the DEA about Brad and goes into a 6-month witness protection program with his fake family. So now he's able to be safe, but he also has to be cautious about what all happens from this point on, because you did not only get members of the cartel arrested, and you not only got a drug boss arrested in your own community, but now there's all these eyes on you that can possibly trace it all back to you. So yeah, 6 months in witness protection, it's a dub to me. It's a dub to me, especially with the fake family, where everyone already seemed like they were getting used to each other anyways. Like, the fake family understood that they were probably the closest thing to a real family that any of them were gonna get, and it worked out perfectly. What are my final thoughts on this? It's a stoner movie, you know. It is a stoner comedy. You don't really see too many people smoking. You don't see any kind of drug use, honestly. Like, the only thing that I can say about this is that you just see weed. You see weed in packs. You see weed in little containers. You don't see any kind of consumption with this at all. So as far as like the traditional stoner comedy goes, it's nothing like How High, it's nothing like Half Baked, it's nothing like Grandma's Boy, but it's definitely something that I feel like stands on its own. And I gotta say, it has to, because it came out 10 years ago. So it's something to where it has replay value, but when you also look at some of the things that today's climate shows, there are some things where it's like, okay, there may be some points in this movie where it seems like they're selling sex, some points in this movie where it really seems like they're trying to sell a fast-paced lifestyle of dealing, and it's not really so much of like a good message and all that. But that's why you have to take these things at face value and understand exactly what it is that's going on. And what's going on is, it's just hilarity mixed with circumstance and fantastic timing. This movie, I feel like, is something that deserves to be within the Hall of Fame of stoner comedy movies, despite the fact that there's nothing that gets taken in. Again, you don't see anybody smoking, you don't see anybody doing some crazy off the wall shit. No, it is just get the product from here to there, and there's so much in between. Like I said, this can be compared to a mix of like Harold and Kumar meets Johnson Family Reunion. So I myself feel like you would have a lot of fun with this, and I feel like I would probably have to give this movie about a solid 8 to 8.5 out of 10. Definitely something worth looking into. You can also check out We're the Millers today on HBO Max. If you haven't seen it yet, you will not regret it. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching today's movie review matinee of We're the Millers. Please let us know down in the comments what video you would like to see next. Also, before we head out, I want to let you guys know that I, as Plugs Bunny, am working on some new music this year. So this is going to be a part of something I've got going on called the Marvelous 2023 run. And what that is pretty much all Marvel all year this year. So in May, I have a Avengers album that's coming out that's going to be a mix of Infinity War and Endgame, and the singles will start rolling out about next month. And then I will make sure that everyone has something to enjoy from there. And then once the Avengers album is done, I myself will be taking a step back to let my in-house producer, Timster the Great, go on his run, because he has some Marvel stuff that's coming out as well. So the Rabbit Hole Sounds is coming at you guys full force with nothing but Marvel entertainment musically. And I really cannot wait for you guys to listen to this. Let me know what all you guys want to see in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to everything that you see on this channel. Like our channel, subscribe to our channel, share this video around, and see you at the next matinee on 94.13 Productions.